What we've identified today is 5 key principles. And the first principle is extending the operation of our existing 8 units to provide reliable electricity, life-saving medical isotopes to 2064 and beyond. Everybody is counting on us to get these right. So there is no future without a stable 8-unit operation, and that's the first principle by which we're moving forward. The second principle is around, with our 8 units, seeing what we can do, given the demand for electricity in Ontario, to get more output to the grid faster. And through our Project 2030, through our other enhancements we're making, we plan to increase the output of our site. And Minister Smith, I think it was back in the 2019-2020 timeframe, came for the launch of Project 2030. When Minister Smith came to site, we were a 6,300 megawatt site at peak. Today, we are a 6,550 megawatt site at peak. The difference between those two numbers is 250,000 Ontario homes. That's the same as an SMR. Our goal as our next step is that for the early 2030s to take that to 7,000 megawatts. So secure our 8 units to the highest standard and maximize the efficiency of those units. It's really, as I like to call, energy conservation on steroids. The third area, as you've heard a lot of discussion about this, is really planning for the long term. And in the history of large infrastructure projects in Canada, and we've learned a lot from that, is typically you go through for an environmental approval, or you engage with Indigenous communities, or you engage with the public once you've made a decision to proceed. And I think we have many examples where that hasn't worked out very well. So Bruce Power, in terms of working with our 3 Indigenous communities, the general public, and using the federal impact assessment process, we are going to engage in that process in a proactive way for up to 4,800 megawatts to make this project stronger and engage early. The fourth area is really around what Mike and Eric and Laurent announced today, and that is a robust technology review process. You know, the first thing everybody in the plant asks me, and I know they ask Mike and Pat and others, I see Dave Andrews here, is what are you going to build? And one of the novel approaches that Bruce Power and OPG developed back in actually 2006, which was our last real foray into new build in Ontario, was what we called a technology neutral approach. That technology neutral approach has allowed them to progress with SMRs at Darlington that were not even really on the drawing board back in 2006. So it's a prudent approach to say, let's get the information right. We need to get a design that is complete, one that we can estimate, one that we can build. And this is a serious process, and we're going to take it very seriously. And if we need to take the time to get it right, we're going to do that. Because if the MCRs have taught us one thing, it's that the planning and preparation and locking your design leads to project success. And the fifth area, and I want to introduce some very special people that are here today, is we want to put a major focus early on economic development partnerships, localization, supply chain, and workforce development, particularly in rural Ontario. They are potentially some of the most significant issues that we will have in realizing this vision. So today what we're doing is we're launching an advisory panel of prominent Canadians from labor, from business, from industry, who are going to support us in this. They're going to give us sound and sage advice as we work through the process. And what it will also allow us to do is we have a deliverable as an industry, which is a feasibility study for new build. And it's really important that when we provide this feasibility study to the minister, after all of his support, we have all of these elements included. There's going to be a lot of things that want to pull our attention away, a lot of shiny objects. We're going to stick to those 5 principles. If we stick to those 5 principles, we'll be successful together.